Call this meeting of Koochiching County Board to order. Welcome, everyone. First item of business is to approve the proposed agenda with additions and deletions.
Want to do the pledge?
Oh, pledging. Yeah, let's do that first. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Now the agenda.
We'll move.
Motion
With additions.
by Jason.
Thank you.
Is there a second?
Oh, what's my first board number?
You got a second by Wayne. With the agenda and additions and deletions. Any questions or comments on those? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries unanimously. Next is our closed session, but again, we almost need Terry for that. Here you go.
And I think we do make a motion to close
Yep,
this.
yeah, yeah.
Okay.
Sure didn't have COVID. I had to go to clinic this morning. A little longer of a test.
We've been talking about you. We'll let them get unzipped here, and then we can go into closed session.
No, that's okay. I always read them online.
Okay, great. Thank you, Nancy.
Okay. We'll let Commissioner Murray get squared away there, and then we're on item 2, Terry.
Okay.
Close the meeting. Okay, got a motion? Is there a second? Second by Jason. Thank you. To go into closed session under attorney-client privilege to discuss employer labor relations negotiations. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye. Highway and public health.
All right.
I'll second that.
Got a motion and a second on the items described. Any questions or discussion on those? Hearing none. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Right.
Opposed? Motion carries unanimously. And then lastly, what was it, December payment listing? Did you have that? Did you have that in there?
A, B, C, and D.
Okay, we got them all then. All right. Okay, it carries. And with that, I think we'll move on to the museum. As we got those folks back, no? Welcome.
Hello.
Everybody with us here? Well, why don't you go ahead and, why don't you outline where we're at and what's needed here?
Okay.
So that way everybody hears the same thing and understands. And I've got a little more stuff with it.
Okay, so right now with the roofing project, I had to go ahead and sign a work agreement with Nelson Contracting so they could put us on the schedule. When I spoke with them last, the last quote was around, I think, $140,000 to do the entire roof. That's replacing absolutely everything and doing that 1/4-inch slope. So all of the water would run off of the roof to the scupper drains. So that way everything would go off the roof properly. They'll also replace all of the insulation and everything as well when they do that. So we'll
Just as
have
a
brand
point,
new.
that 140,000 is higher than the quote we had, correct?
Yes. So because it took so long to get any conversation moving, like with the city and all of that kind of stuff, and get everyone to the table to have conversations, the price had increased about $20,000. And I had also lost the opportunity to be locked in on a price. So now, even though the quote that they gave me was around 140, that is subject to change. It's based on what the materials will cost when they arrive. So I'm not gonna know that, what the final number will be until they actually get here. And he said that right now materials take around 9 months roughly to come in. That's about how long it took for them to get in for the cobblestone hotel project that they did. From the time that he ordered it was about 9 to 10 months. And that's based just on a roofing supply shortage. I mean, because they're petroleum products, so there's just not like a huge supply of them right now. So they're struggling to get in what they need. We had a conversation with the city. We reached an agreement with them. They're giving us a loan of $40,000 and we will repay back $20,000. If we can do that within 5 years, they will forgive the other $20,000. We are already bringing $35,000 from our own budget to the table, and then whatever the county can contribute, we will have, and then we will have to fundraise as much as we can before the work is completed, before they come up, and then whatever the difference is, whatever's left over, we would have to privately finance.
So just, and I, following on what the city's done, say that again, they withheld 10,000 or something, and depending on you,
So they gave us a loan of $40,000.
40,000.
They gave us a $40,000 loan. We will repay 20 of that over 5 years, and if we can do that, they will forgive the other 20,000.
So then there would be they would pick up the entire thing then? I'm not quite sure what that,
So we are getting a $40,000 loan from the city.
right,
We have to repay $20,000 of that.
right.
That means that if we repay that $20,000 in 5 years, they will forgive the remaining balance of $20,000 on the $40,000
So
loan.
it still costs the museum
It still costs us $20,000.
$20,000, that's what I'm getting at.
Like, we
Okay.
still have to pay back $20,000, and that was really the only. That was the only deal, because the other option was either they didn't give us any money, or we had to repay the full $40,000.
Is that additional to the 35 that you're contributing directly?
Yes.
So continue then if you want. Was there anything else?
Nope, that's pretty much it.
All right.
So I just don't know, I just don't know what the final cost of the roof will be, until those materials arrive, which is not great, but there's nothing I can do about it.
So
And
the
he's-
140, without looking at this, the 140 is an estimate, but it could go up because of the materials?
Yes.
Yes, the other,
It's mainly just the materials that could increase.
yeah, it's based upon what the materials will be when they arrive. The other thing that the city had offered was that they would waive all of our permitting fees for the work that'll need to be done. So whatever building permits and stuff that the roofers would need, they'll waive those. So that would come back off of the cost from the contractors, because that includes all of our permit fees and everything that they roll into that work. So.
All right, thoughts of the board?
Well, I think they need to be able to commit to get this thing done, to get it 9, or it'll be, 9 months possibly to get it done. So I don't know what we can do here today to make that happen, but I'm in favor of whatever we do to make it happen.
I can tell you this, every day we waste is costing money,
Yes,
and it already has. I'm very disappointed in the city not being an equal partner here. And that means if we're gonna do this, this money is gonna have to come from the county. And it's not something we didn't anticipate. And, I can tell you how, for all these years, the law enforcement center is a good example. The last agreement we made on that was when I first started as the commissioner. We were, Paul McLaughlin and I were out in the hallway. We were right down to the toilet paper, and we laughed and made an agreement. Your dad was there as mayor back then, and we made an agreement. And because things were going good, we've allowed the city to utilize that facility at no further cost for, that's got to be 25, 27 years ago. So when it comes to the museum, International Falls is the biggest, that's, people come to that, International Falls benefits, and we've always looked at it as a shared deal, but apparently that's not the case anymore. So I guess the issue is the county willing to put in all that extra money? I can tell you this, first of all, there's no way they can pay that anyway, from what I've
Well,
seen.
I agree there. That's kind of a strange agreement, because if they can't afford to pay the first 20 out, they got to pay the second 20.
Exactly. Well, I think what they were thinking is let the county pick it all up. That's probably what we're going to have to do at this point, but it just makes me feel very uneasy.
Could we say that we would guarantee the difference if the county doesn't pay more, or they can't get the donations or whatever, or a specific amount? Would we say we donate above? I don't know. What do you think?
Well, I think the only way we're going to get a firm price on a roof that cost is going to continue to go. I think to do that, we're going to have to pick up the bill and get them moving. The longer we wait, the more it's going to cost.
Yeah.
We've already lost a lot of money there. It just frustrates me.
Yeah.
And it's certainly not your fault. You folks have been working hard trying to get this to go. The problem is the finance.
Well, I still don't think that I'm gonna know what a final price is until those materials arrive. Like I already had to sign a contract, like to commit to the work, because otherwise if I didn't do that, they weren't gonna be able to put me on a work schedule, first of all. And if I waited any longer, they were gonna put me out until 2023 for any work. And there was no way that the roof patch is gonna hold for another 2 years. There was just no way.
Will they be able to get it in 2022?
That's what they told me. He said that he would get me on the schedule and do it. It probably wouldn't get done until maybe like the fall, like maybe September. But he said that he'd still get it done because it was an important project.
Yeah, so by signing the contract, that was like them, like, okay, we're on the schedule and they can order.
Yeah, because they wouldn't order, like, they're not going to order anything for me until I was committed to having the work done.
Yep.
So that's what I had to do. So they gave me the numbers for the roof at, like, what the material cost that day. But he said that that price was subject to change based on when the materials showed up. So I'm not going to know what that is until they come in.
So on the other side of the problem here, we would be forcing county taxpayers at a cost that we can't put out there yet. Go ahead.
Do you know if we would be able to prepay and keep that cost down?
That I don't know, but I can ask them. I can see if that's something that would be possible.
Business, you can do that, but it's very hard to do it, in
Yeah,
a tax structure like that.
I know.
Jason, did you have something?
Yep, just one thing. I have a number of 68,777. Can we do a not to exceed that for now? And to get things going, so we have committed the 143,777 with the 40 from the city and the 35 from the museum. That would get us the total cost for now. If there's changes in that cost, we could revisit
Okay.
when the numbers come in, or when something changes further down the line this summer when we know more, hopefully. So if that would be acceptable.
I mean, I like that idea, but it sounds to me like they're still not going to be able to give you a cost, a final cost.
Yeah, I can talk with them more and just have another conversation with Paul and just push and say, is there any possible way you can give me a real final number at all?
Well, mention that we have a not to exceed number. And, you know, and that's pretty firm number.
Can they do it?
Yeah.
Are you guys okay with that? Getting back to them, but
Yeah, I can get a hold of them, that's not a problem.
Wayne?
Well, I don't know. I mean, when you look at it in that way, yeah, but, I mean, they're projecting out because they don't know what it's going to be costing and what, we can't go out forever either.
No.
And, it's going on the assumption that the prices are going to be going up. And so on, but then on this bid coming out, that, you know, at that price, you know, at some kind of price, I'm quite sure that if the price drops, that you're not going to discount us, maybe, I don't know.
You don't think they'll drop it if it's a discounted price of materials? That's what you said?
Well, I don't know, I mean, on that, I mean, they are leaving it open-ended, but I guess that should be a question too, I guess.
Make sure that they will drop it, yeah. If the materials is less than what they have in here, yeah. But it should go both ways.
Yeah, because if they're gonna hold us to an increase,
Very different situation. All the years I've been here, we always go out for a firm price.
I know it.
What is such a different situation?
And I would say, not sure.
A motion that we have our amount of not to exceed $68,777 to repair the roof at the museum and revisit when we have more information about materials. So we can get going on it and get it started and get it done, and we'll see where we land. You know, I think if we talk to the contractor and you know, kind of let them know that there is some agreement, you have some monies available to do this, that maybe, you know, that would kind of firm them up maybe too for materials and actual costs of getting going on it for them. So and hopefully they can get you in 2022 in the fall. So.
Okay.
All right.
I'll second that.
We have a motion by Commissioner Schoenblum, second by Commissioner Murray.
Mr. Chair, I'd just like to talk about where the funds are going to come from. We do not have funds budgeted in the regular county budget for this purpose. We have $40,000 in contingency in the KDA fund. If those funds, if you want to encumber those funds, but the remaining difference of $28,000 we do not have budgeted. I have $50,000 in admin contingency funds that could be used, but then we're using all of those admin contingent funds, and it's January 11th. Now, if we want to go back and revisit and open the budget for these expenditures, we can, but I do need you to identify funding source in your board motion. And if it is KDA funding, we could ratify that at a KDA meeting.
Yeah, we were talking about this, that 40,000 would have covered it at the time, correct?
Yeah. What we were talking about was matching what the city, yes, at the time we were talking 40,000 and being consistent with what the city was providing and not providing any more than the city.
But we can open and ratify the KDA, that would amend the motion? To open and ratify the KDA budget and not use admin contingency?
And use all KDA funds?
All KDA.
Okay, and those will be then reserve funds, additional reserve funds for economic development. Okay.
Sounds good.
Terry, do you comply there?
Yep, sounds good to me.
A question on this is, depending upon what comes out of the Supreme Court case, if we have COVID money now, but if this other ruling comes in on having to pay time and stuff on the employees, that's gonna burn that money up, correct?
We'd have to talk about that in ARP committee. We have about 1.3 additional ARP funds that are coming in, plus we have uncommitted funds of about 200,000. I'm sort of a rough estimate of where we're at right now. We've committed about $1 million in ARP funds. If they change their final ruling and allow us to use anything ARP funds for any purpose, then most definitely those could be used for the museum roof.
Do we need to amend the motion again?
Nope. Because we could, I think that would be a KDA or a ARP committee meeting when that gets settled, and we'll determine where we want to allocate those really unrestricted funds.
Okay, so we're back to the, what, 68,777, is that what it was? Does that sound right?
And then you're going to authorize a budget adjustment as well? Okay.
So with those parameters, any further questions? All right, hearing none, we'll call the question. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. We will continue. I think we need to get Mr. Posniak involved in this sort of thing. He's good at the numbers. We got to get something going here, that's for sure. It looks like it's going to be falling on the county, most of it, so we'll have to get it going.
Thanks for hanging in.
Thank you for all the work
Thank
you folks have worked so hard on this. I appreciate it. We got to keep it going. Thank you. All right, moving on. Looking for a signature to the 2021 audit engagement letter. That's so somebody gets in trouble, whoever does the signature.
I'll move.
Get a motion.
I'll second.
And a second. Any questions or discussion on that? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed? Motion carries unanimously. And we need a signature to the cost allocation contract. A lot of signatures. I guess I'm the one in trouble with this doesn't work.
Well, I'll move that signature too.
All right.
Second that.
We've got a motion and a second on that signature. Any questions or discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed? Motion carries unanimously. Authorize the annual recording of employee dishonesty and faithful performance bond. Well, that's a lot.
I'll move on that, I guess we need it, right?
Yeah, we do have to have it. Okay, we've got a motion by Commissioner Skoye.
I'll second. Oh, so that's
It was kind of a tie there.
pretty adjacent.
Okay. Second by Commissioner Schulman. Any questions or comments on that? Have to have it. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. So we'll have a faithful performance bond. Update from the University of Minnesota program. Who's taking that?
I believe that's us.
All right,
Yeah.
well, welcome.
Thank you. And we would like to share a PowerPoint. I'm going to have Stacy do that. And introductions. My name is Jan Drodowski, and I'm an extension educator in the Northeast region. And with me today is Stacy Hall, who is a local educator and serves Koochiching County. And so we thank you for inviting us to provide an update. We'll give Stacy just a minute here. And can you all see that PowerPoint?
Yeah?
Yes.
Awesome. Okay. And so with that, Stacy, if you move us to the second slide, we just want to remind you that Our mission with the University of Minnesota is to make a difference by connecting community needs and university resources to address the critical issues in Minnesota. And Stacy and I do that by paying attention to all of Koochiching County's young people. And so our goal is to ensure that young people in communities throughout Minnesota, Stacy, if you want to move to the next slide, have the opportunity to thrive in ways that are important and meaningful to them. You all know that the last couple of years has probably been a couple of the most challenging years that we've faced, both for ourselves as adults, but also for young people in our communities. The pandemic has turned things upside down, and it has been our mission to ensure that young people stay connected to quality resources, have opportunities to connect with caring adults, It gave us pause. However, I think the things that we have shared prior with our county extension committee, and we'll share some of those pieces with you, we have been able to significantly pivot and adapt to ensure that young people are receiving support and resources. And so with that, I want to turn it over to Stacy, who can give a little bit more of the perspective for the local program.
We're having an audio issue here, please. Can just barely hear you.
All right, I'll try that again. And of course, our Koochiching County now.
It still needs to be turned up a bit.
She's got to talk into her microphone.
Stacy, do you have a headset by chance that might help?
Can you hear me better now?
No, it's about the same. It's just real weak.
A little better, but not.
Real faint.
Yeah. It's better.
Okay. So, historically, we have served the youth throughout the entire county of Koochiching County in these 4 hub stations here, of course, International Hall, and Little Fork, North Home, and also out at the school. And we've had after-school programming at all of these locations pre-COVID, and we're working very hard to get back out to the schools at this time. During COVID, staying connected was very hard with schools, just would not let after-school programming in. We had no places where we could meet. So we did that through, of course, a Facebook page, which was already established. But we had established also Instagram page, and we did new type of web newsletter that would go out monthly as well. And then we also really honed in on Zoom and doing virtual meetings, which we still are doing because they work out so nice for the size of our county, which I'm sure Commissioner Stowe recognizes as well, coming from Norfolk. And that drive can be kind of long for an hour meeting or so. So it's very wonderful tool for us to do. One of the things
I was waiting for a text. I just running errands. Just got back to the office and saw the email. She's still here? Okay.
Every 6 weeks, we would do another series of programming. And Monday through Thursday, right after school, we have virtual opportunities for kids to register and participate with. And this is as a team across the Northeast region, and so we were able to offer more. Traditionally, when we do it after school study, I am one that I go, Mondays I'm all of the Rainbow Lake Gazette. This is a summer robotics program that I did with Dan, who was the community director in the fall. And we had 14 individuals participate in robotics. Of course, STEM is always popular, and people really like the STEM programming. What you didn't see was the other STEM programming that was happening. In Norfolk, I was down there several times, I think 3 times, during their summer learning academy, and led engineering design challenges with their participants in their summer program. And then I was also out at the Loonport Kids Garden, and did some lessons and activities around pollinator habitats and some education there as well. So those were partnerships that we were able to resume this summer, and those also continued on into this fall into after-school programming. And here's a picture of a few kids doing all pellets. I did a session, and Monday I was at Norfolk, and Tuesday I was in the fall at Falls Elementary, and Wednesday in Lownport, and participated. We did fall, exploring fall, so each week they would come and they would learn a new thing, and this particular week was all pellets, and we learned all about elves and what they digest and regurgitate, and it was a very fun lesson, probably by far one of their favorites as well. And the last highlight piece that I want to focus on is our horse project as well. For the last several years, we have had Jody Reller is our horse project leader, and she is also on the extension committee for us as well. And she just does a fabulous job. She was one of the very first leaders that was back on, like, when can we get back in person, when can we get back to meeting, and she's just done a fabulous job. Her and Mary Lou Mortensen are starting up again in just like 2 weeks with they do an 8-week session of horse basic knowledge, they do horse bowls, type of projects, and then they usually do a showmanship workshop for the kids so that they can learn how to be prepared for our horse show that we do at the fair. With this, I'm going to hand it back over to Jan.
Thanks, Stacy. And we are fortunate at the U that we receive a variety of training opportunities, all designed to help us make sure that youth have a positive experience. And so with that, Stacy works with her Leaders Council to ensure that that happens, and she shares that knowledge. Some things I want to highlight that you may not know about Stacy, and I specifically said I wanted to do this slide because I knew she was going to be too modest, but the strengths that she really brings to the programs that she delivers, our 4-H programs, but also to the community. Stacy's, she takes advantage of every STEM training opportunity that we offer. You can see there's a little chocolate bar on there, and she learned to weld with chocolate, and has also taught young people how to do that. Really engages in some creative and fun ways to get kids learning about some critical STEM principles, and then how they can think about using those principles and building a career. She's piloted a number of national curriculums in the county. Polymers, she mentioned that being one of them. She's been asked to peer review and to write curriculum that she shares not only with the county young people, but that is used throughout our region and actually throughout the state. She's a representative on our National 4-H Council. She is currently, I think, reviewing after school and STEM curriculum. She also is a trained ACES interface presenter. And so if you're familiar with that, And why do I share some of these pieces? Because Stacy's reach goes well beyond the 4-H community. She's very active in her church, in the Family Services Collaborative, Koochiching Resource Council, and then the Social Services Provider Group. She's also a member there. So all of the things, we mentioned early on that it is our mission to connect community needs and university resources. And so, most of Stacy's work is certainly done with young people or volunteers who work with young people. But she does not limit herself. She has a far reach in this community with many of the other activities that she does. And I think that's important to highlight and for you all to recognize what a great asset we have in our county with Stacy. With that, Stacy, I think we're going to wrap it up. We want to thank all of you for your investment in the 4-H program, and we'll open it up for questions now.
Kevin, please.
Jan, this is Kevin Ady. Still here.
Hi, Kevin.
How you doing? Good to see you, ladies.
I am doing well. How about you?
Doing all right. So,
You too.
quick question I have for you is, how's your membership in Koochiching 4-H now?
Well, I'm gonna turn that over to Stacy, but first I wanna talk about Stacy's efforts. So during the pandemic, it was a challenge, and it was a challenge throughout the state, all 4-H programs, throughout the nation. And so Stacy mentioned that we really adapted quickly and engaged young people in those virtual learning environments. We also stayed connected with the partners that Stacy highlighted in her part of the presentation. And so while we might not have been able to get in the schools, and also recognizing that some of our young people were kind of tapped out on Zoom. For some, it worked really, really well. For others, not so much. And that coupled with, some of our challenges with, having strong internet in remote locations. Our membership took a little bit of a dive. However, as soon as things started to open up, I'll tell you, Stacy was poised and she was ready, and she has exceeded, I believe, membership prior to COVID. And so with that, Stacy, I want to turn it back over to you to talk about, you can give them the numbers, but I wanted to make sure that they knew how well positioned you were to, and how you stayed connected to partners.
As Jen mentioned, the numbers had taken a hit, but they are coming back. In the fall session that we did in the after school, we had a record number of kids participating from North Home. Usually I have about 8 kids, but I had 13 kids in that session. And then the international calls because we had met at Bacchus and we had tables and chairs for 18, I've always had to cap that program to 18 kids. Moving it to the cafeteria of Fellows Elementary, we had 25 kids participating in that very first program that was being offered. And then Little Fork as well was up in the, I think it was 35 that we had participating on Little Fork. So our very first after school push of programming we did that weekly fall session. We had 78 kids participating, or 73 kids participating, across the county. And at the same time that we were doing that, I was also teaching Thursdays. I was teaching the 4-H Shutterbugs, which was a fall session of photography. And that particular program, we had 4 kids from Koochiching County participating, but we had 30 kids in the program from across the state. So, does that answer your question, Kevin?
Kind of. I was having a hard time hearing you, but I think I caught most of it.
Kevin?
Yep.
Kevin, if I can summarize, I just went and pulled Stacy's numbers up. And we look at enrollment in 2 different ways. We look at community club enrollment, and then we look at the the connection that we make with partners and kids enrolling in 4-H that way. Stacy is at 200% over her pre-COVID numbers in her program agreement kiddos that joined. So and she talks about, you know, the robotics program that she did in the summer and the number of young people that participated there. So, you know, she's in, as far as the county goes, we're in good standing with the number of young people that we're reaching.
Okay, great. How many 4-H clubs are there now in Koochiching County?
Koochiching County, because of our location, our remote location, we have really grown the program through, we call them PA clubs, program agreement clubs. So those are clubs that exist in connection with partners. And in addition, we have a few community clubs. And Stacy, do you know the exact numbers off the top of your head?
Yeah, so we have 2 age groups of after-school programming for each of the schools. So we have each of the 4 school areas would have a kindergarten through 2nd grade club, and then they would also have a 3rd through 8th grade club that we do. And so that would be the after-school programs. And then that's 8. And then we have the 2 community-based programs, one being led in North Home by Jim Schneider, and then the State Top Stars, which is the horse club that's led by Jody Reller.
Okay. Thank you.
Any other questions?
Pretty quiet bunch here. No questions?
Well, again, we thank you for the invitation to come and present. We are excited about the things that are happening in Koochiching County, and we're just going to keep doing good work.
Well, thank you. Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you.
Appreciate
Nice
it.
presentation.
Great to hear from you. All right.
Thanks.
We'll move on then. What's the committee list? Is that what you guys
Yes, yep.
did? Well, the easiest way, I mean, if everyone's satisfied with what they've got, or somebody looking at different things, or if we have new committees, then we'd have to appoint some. Kevin, did you have something?
No.
They look good for for the ones I'm on.
Wayne, you okay?
Yeah.
Okay. So essentially everything is staying the same.
Well, one of mine was switched. I have to look here. I forgot about that.
Okay.
I think I moved it to C, Convention and Visitors Bureau. Or maybe I did not. Maybe I left it as under B. Oh, it's called the Rainy Lake. Anyways, I updated that under R. Oh, it's under I, International Falls, Rainy Lake, and Rainier Convention and Visitors Bureau. It's on page 5. And then I also noticed, Mr. Chair, that the Housing Collaborative, you asked me to add that, but we already had the Housing Collaborative on the list. Terry Murray, Kevin 80, alternates were all commissioners, and staff Matt Gwynn. So I'm going to remove that additional one. I had listed Kevin 80 and Jason Shoglo. But if you want me to change Terry to Jason, I certainly can. but all commissioners are listed as alternates.
Still hear pages rattling, so everybody okay with their committee list then? All right, hearing none, I guess that's it.
I need a first and a second. I don't have a motion yet.
Oh,
I'll move the committee.
all right, we've got a motion.
That I wrote down anyways.
And a second by Terry, was it?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Opposed, motion carries unanimously. Thank you. We have that done. Do we have land and forestry?
Mr. Chair, we have
Oh, information
Yeah.
business?
And Jackie's on vacation this week, so there's nobody really here to I don't think, fill in for her, but it's you've seen these kind of requests before. Jackie is retiring. She would like to purchase her technology device at a depreciated value of $211.29.
I'll move on that, Mr. Chair.
We've got a motion.
Second, Mr. Chair.
Second by Commissioner Schobel. It's routine, we've done that many times.
It's a pretty common thing.
All right. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. And on to land and forestry. We got Nathan here?
No, I'm here remotely.
Oh, there you are. Okay, hi Nathan.
Hi.
You're looking for what? A capital expenditure purchase of a Trimble receiver.
Yep, so this would be for the survey department. It would replace our current R10 receiver that's roughly 10 years old. The new R12 receiver, it's got some little better technology in it. It's got way better reception under like a closed canopy condition out in the woods when there's full leaf on, and that'll greatly improve the survey technician's efficiency out in the field. So this price is $22,889.70. That would include a trade-in of our current R10 receiver. And this is a budgeted capital expenditure for 2022.
We've got a motion by Commissioner Skoye.
I'll second.
Second by Commissioner Murray. Any questions for Nathan? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you, Nathan.
Thank you.
Public comment. Anyone here for public comment?
Mr. Chair, Cindy Barr would like to say something about mold issue and stuff, right? From like rental homes and things like that. So
Great. Sit, come on up and you can, if you want, or you can sit there or sit right there.
I've had mold issues at our home, remediated, which is good.
How do they mediate that?
How do you remediate it? You have to remove the mold. You have to use air scrubbers, you have to use, ozone machines. You have, when you find mold, say you found mold in your wall, you get somebody in, we had the neighbor, he came in, you bag it up, you get it out. You have to use negative air to whatever. It's a big process.
Sounds like it.
Okay. But the effects of what mold does on people is really why, I'm kind of here, because my daughter and my grandkids are living in it, and it's bad. In fact, I won't say a name, but I had a gentleman at our house that he ended up one night, got just rage, and I mean rage, and that was not like him. And pushing me to get out the door and did whatever, and I had to call the family. They came and got him, and I felt bad, but I had no idea why he was doing this. Well, I do now. Black mold will cause all kinds of neurological issues. It'll mess with your kidneys, your thyroid, your hormone, every aspect of your body. Deplete your collagen. When I was at my sickest with this, you could have asked me my name and I couldn't have told you. I've been to how many doctors? I had Frankie do a test. I can give this to you. And it came back with the molds that he had in him. He took this up to his primary doctor. He gave it to his doctor, and the doctor looked at it and he said, I know nothing about it. You have to deal with the doctor that ordered it. See, they don't deal with it. The regular medical community will not touch this. Mayo Clinic will not touch this. They know about mold. They know it affects your lungs. But there's if it affects your lungs, right, your blood circulates. So it's causing all kinds of issues in your, I'm not really trying, well, I guess I am trying to open up a can of worms, because you know what? How many people in this town are dealing with this? And they keep going to the doctor, and they keep saying, well, here, we'll give you this and this and this, like they did to me. And I kept saying, well, what caused this? Well, we don't know. But, we'll just keep, we'll give you a heart monitor thing. We'll give you, Ativan, gabapentin. We'll give, it's like, why is this happening? Well, we don't know. And it's just like one big circle. That's what this has been. But like I said, I know I went into the courtroom for a guy, not a guy, well, he is 18 now. And I got triggered in there so bad. I had one hard time in there, and I know the jail is full of mold. And it's bad. And then you wonder what, like all these people, they have these rages, these young kids, and they're ragey, and they're ADHD and ODC, and the list goes on and on. This is what it does. And this is where I'm saying the medical community is not stepping up to this, and they haven't. But can I give you this?
Absolutely.
Just to
You can give it to Jenny there because she's
give it to her first?
Yeah.
Oh, and then she'll give it to you?
Yep.
Okay.
She can make a copy for all of us.
Okay.
But that's just, I'm saying just my daughter and my grandkids. But come on. Look where we're at. And it's not just this town. I've been all over. Literally all over. And trying to find a place, to live that doesn't have mold. Take a needle and throw it out in that lake and say, find it. That's pretty much what's gone on. Because I've basically been homeless for the last how many years because of this. And you don't go from doing adult foster care, helping on the farm and the dog kennel, to being homeless and like you're crazy. But that's what it does. The inflammation gets into the brain and it just causes so much that it's unreal. It's unreal. But like I said, the gentleman I had at my house, and I felt bad because they asked if he could come back, and I said I can't, because I couldn't risk him leaving the house in the middle of the night and having, and not hear him. But I know that gentleman was never, ever, ever like that. He was very laid back, had a heart of gold. But like I said, in this, and I know being there, that's what caused that. Because I know what that rage is like. And that isn't just from our house. This is from years of growing up in it. This is, you know, it was in my mom and dad's house, which I had no clue, you know, till after. I rented at the old Grand Shingle. That's when Kay and Len Shannon had it. And I mean, I think back now, that basement was completely black, like down by the washer and dryer. Well, all those spores, all that sucks up and into your, you know, your system, and you're breathing this in. I mean, years and years and years of this, and eventually, it just, you know, your body gets so toxic it can't take anymore. So I don't know how much sense this makes to anybody, but, and then you can get cross-contamination. Let me clue you in. I've had to learn so much on this, and I'm on a lot of these mold groups because of it, you know, and these people are so disgusted with the medical system, and there's no research, and there's no CDC or NIH or whatever. They won't step up because it's so massive. I know that's why. And it's not just in Minnesota. I mean, it's every state. Different countries are on this. And it's like, you know, wow. You know, and you start naming off all these symptoms, and it's like, wait a minute, I got that, you know. But there are, like Dr. Nancy Sudak in Duluth. She's an integrative doctor. She does supplement people with this, where you take binders, which is charcoal, cholestyramine, pectin. But the first thing you have to do is remove yourself from the mold. That has to be done first. But like I said, in cases where, like my daughter, for instance, she can't financially move. And she's told the landlord, and she's told HUD, well, there's nothing we can do about it. Well, hello, something's got to be done.
Well, again, that's something we could have.
I know I opened up a can of worms. Sorry.
No. We have a public health department, and that would be the place to take a look at that, or have them talk to us about it. I got to have a 15 or 16 month vacation in the tropics myself, and it was rampant over there. So I know what you're saying about mold. Yeah.
Well, I've tried a couple of these places here, the low income, and I can't be in them.
Yeah.
There's no way. No. In fact, I asked, I said, would they be able to, the last one, I said, would you be able to remediate that, like under the sink and stuff? No. We can paint it with kilns, or that's not going to do it. That will not, you know, it'll, whatever. And they say, like, take bleach. You don't ever take bleach. You use ammonia or borax. But like I said, if you have mold, then it has to be remediated. It has to be taken out, period, all of it, and replaced. So,
All right. Well,
sorry.
oh, no, we're glad you're. Any questions from commissioners? Comments?
So you're thinking, the way to urge, you were saying is maybe have public health maybe presented to us?
Yeah, well, I guess, if any citizen brings something to us, I think, let's take it to the right place, and that would be public health. And is there a lot going on that we don't know about? I haven't heard of anything here, but you know, certainly doesn't mean it isn't. And it is a health issue, so. All right, well, thank you for coming, we appreciate it.
I didn't know what else to do. I thought, you know what, this has got to be brought up.
Yeah.
You know, so, but.
Yeah, well, thanks for coming in, Cindy.
Pardon?
Thanks for coming in.
Yeah. But no, do you need a photocopy of that?
Yeah, do you want me to, I can take a photocopy if you'd like.
Yeah, would ya?
Sure.
Go ahead.
I'll do it right after we adjourn. How is that?
Sounds good.
All right, any other business? Pretty quiet bunch. All right, motion to adjourn would be in order. Motion?
Second.
And a second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries unanimously. Thank you, everybody.
I'll take it.